Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of Wild West AI, the podcast about anything and everything AI. Okay, today I wanted to talk a little bit about what I think is kind of like a hidden gem, although it's not really hidden in any, real respect, but it's one that I don't see pop up really like ever in conversations and forums, etc. Find.com, Phind.com. So find.com. And I guess I'm bringing this one up because it is one of those first models I saw where people were taking AI and integrating it into a search engine, and like before GPT was really browser ready and searching and everything. I thought that Perplexity was the bee's knees, and then like Perplexity ran into some problems and was kind of hallucinating a lot more than you'd expect, but like it's hallucinating with sources that it's citing and trying to show that it's like doing the work and looking it up, but then it's not actually looking it up. There's a whole controversy around that. Maybe we could cover that one day too. But anyway, around that time I was like looking for another option and I found find.com. And find.com, I think, is a really great tool. So it's got this base model Find 70B, and then it's got 405B. And then it also has Claude for Sonnet built in, GPT-5, O3, and Claude Opus. And all those ones, including the 405B, they're all limited unless you have a paid plan. Regardless, even using the 70B, I find to be a really great tool for, I think, a wide variety of tasks, like the technical ones, math, coding in particular, which you can also run coding things like live through their website and implementation, stuff like that. You can also use it to just do basic searches. It's pretty good at that, I think. You can give it a lot of instruction and it can work with it, which before, like earlier on, I was finding that it actually couldn't handle much of a prompt. And I think that it's improved greatly over the past couple of years in that respect. It was like cutting off my prompts in the beginning, but now I give it the same length prompt I would give anything, and it can handle it pretty well. I think that it does an extraordinarily cool thing. And this is coming from someone who, I'm not an expert in any of this stuff. I'm not coming from a high up place here. I don't know most of any of this stuff. I'm just kind of an average guy here to talk with people who are into this stuff, regardless of where they're at with experience. So anyway, the things that I find important and cool and interesting might not seem to be the same to those of you out there who have a lot of experience with this. So it goes. All I can do is give you what I got, be who I am, let it go from there. So I think that one of the cool things it does is it creates charts and visuals without me prompting it to do so in ways that I think are super helpful. And if I had thought about it beforehand, like before sending in whatever prompt it might be, I would have included something in the prompt saying I want this aspect of it visualized or, displayed or put out like with a mermaid style code or something like that. It just does that on its own. It figures out, in my personal experience and based on the needs that I have when I use it, exactly where I would want a visualization. And it just kind of does it on its own. So like I might even input a whole code like for an app that I'm working on or something like that. And if I were to just do that and say like improve this and lay out how, and then you just copy paste the whole thing in there, I just kind of like wait and see what comes from it, and the result is not only a pretty solid overview of the app itself and what it would improve, but it basically creates a very, very helpful breakdown of how it currently works, what it would change, where it would change it, how it would be viewed to somebody who's using the app once it's actually like rendered and completed and everything. Like you're previewing the app on a simulated device, for instance, like it shows me roughly what that's going to look like. It shows me the whole code in and of itself broken down based on the different files, the file tree and everything. But it does all of this stuff without being prompted to do so specifically, and it doesn't overdo it either. That's something I like about it too. It doesn't, to me, overdo the images or visualizations and charts and things, because sometimes you might have a model that overdoes that sort of thing where it's like it ends up being useless because you're given too much to look at. Not with Find. I find that it's actually really good at balancing that. It also has like drop down in its responses, so its sections are drop downable. You can hide and show, you can toggle, I guess that's the word. You can toggle the different sections of its response so that you're not overloaded with what it's talking about, but you have like a table of contents basically for its response. And it doesn't use dumb emojis to show that. It shows like just simple basic icons that are helpful in organizing something like that, but you don't have to like look at like 12 different types of emojis to get through it all. And I just think that that's like cool, and it does that even with its base model. You don't have to be using like its 405B or whatever. You can be using its 70B, and it'll do a pretty good job of all that as well. Anyway, so that's my plug. I have no relation or connection to it, but just thought I would share it as a cool resource for anyone else who's interested and hadn't heard of it or tried it before. So there you go. I'll link it in the description of this podcast for you. Email me if you're interested in, hearing me talk about something else, an average guy talking about something else. and if you want to come on the show and teach me a thing or two, please do. I am open. So email me. That's also in the description of this episode. Talk to you all soon. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.